Hi guys, it's Jen here and welcome to Jen's Wild About Art. So today I'm going to be drawing a rhinoceros and her calf for you, and I'll be doing them also with watercolour, but I'm going in the outline now with my good old HB pencil. And yeah, just drawing the basic outline, and I'm drawing the calf in now. I'll just get all the proportions correct, and then I'll go over it with a very fine 0.003 micron pen, and then I'll rub out the pencil outline once I'm completely happy with the drawing, and then I will start with the watercolour. So now I'm going in with cobalt blue and burnt umber in a very watery wash for the first layer on both of these rhinoceros. I'll build up different tones by adding slightly less water, slightly more paint consistency, but still using cobalt blue and burnt umber. So I've got the first layer in now, and while it's still damp, I go in with the second layer of slightly thicker consistency of cobalt blue burnt umber mix, and I add this to the shadow areas on both rhinos. So now I'm going in with another layer, still again cobalt blue burnt umber, and just a slightly thicker consistency again, and as you can see it's another couple of tones darker, and I go over the shadow areas I've just done again, and I add this tone in, and you can see it starts to create depth of shadow and starts to give some perspective and some depth to the animals, and gives them some shape just by adding darker tones to different areas. So now I'm adding some shadows to the calf, again burnt umber cobalt blue mix, slightly thicker consistency just to make it a little bit darker, a little bit thicker, and I'm careful to keep the edges soft, so I'll go around. Once I've put the colour down, I do tend to touch it again with a damp brush just to soften the edges. So now I'm doing the grass, and for the grass I used earth green, then I went yellow ochre, a little bit of earth green, and then sap green and earth green mixed together just to darken up the very roots of the grass. And then I go back to working on both the rhinos again with a darker mix, less water, more paint of cobalt blue and burnt umber, and a little bit of ultramarine blue into this mix as well. And now I'm starting to darken up the shadows even more, so I've added a few in the creases in her neck, a little bit more shadow on her face, and I'm deepening up the shadows around the calf by just darkening up the shadow on Mum. That makes the calf's colour stand out that little much more, because I've left quite a lot of light around the edge of the calf's face. And yeah, as I darken the shadow around the calf will pop out more, stand out more from the picture, and look a bit more three-dimensional. So now I'm going to drop the sky in, and I'm just adding a nice clean brush, a wet brush, to the whole background, and I'll just go straight in with pure cobalt blue, and I'll let that run around the background. So the top of the sky is darker and getting lighter towards the bottom, and I do this, I try to get in as quick as possible while the paper is still quite wet, so that way I don't end up with any hard lines. Then I go back in and add the little eye details on the rhino and her calf. And now I start to work in the finer details on both of the animals, and get the darkest darks in and the darkest shadows in for the most contrast. And I also add a bit of transparent sienna because I thought it just needed a bit of a lift, a bit of warmth, and I love the reddy brownness of the transparent sienna. And so I just added that in as a final touch just to get some warmth into both of the animals, and I'm really happy with that effect. And then I just keep working around and just touching up darkest darks. So now I'm going in and doing shadows, and I'm using a few different tones of purple. So I start with a light purple mix, and then I go to a darker purple at the bottom just to give it some depth and keep the bottom of the grass dark. And that grounds them really well. And now I go add the final darks on the calf, and I work just some touch-up parts around the bottom of Mum's belly and the legs and around the eyes. Then I add the darkest darks around the calf's face. I want that to be the center of attention, and I think that really worked well. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I'd love it if you click like and subscribe and click on the bell icon. That way you'll be notified when I release another video. I'll pop links below to my other social media. I also have a Twitch channel, so you can watch this painting in real time if you'd like to. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Have an awesome day, and I'll see you next video. Okie doke. Bye.